Danny Phantom, Fair Game. This is a new graphic novel by Gabriela Epstein that I managed to get a copy of early, so I'm doing a spoiler-free review. I'm not going to talk about anything past what like the back of the book says and like a couple of the preview pages that were released, so don't panic. I'm not going to give away the whole thing. And this comes out officially November 4th, so there's still time to pre-order a copy, I assume. And go check it out. I'll be doing a full deep dive spoiler-filled review very soon. But let's get into this. Danny Phantom. Welcome back, everybody, to Danny Phantom Month. Every year during the month of October, I like to make videos themed around my favorite show, Danny Phantom. Recently, I did a video talking about what it might be like if they ever made a live-action reboot of Danny Phantom. I think it's pretty fun. Go check that out. I also have a full review coming for Nicktoons and the Dice of Destiny. That'll be out very soon, just finishing editing that. And if you're new here, go check out some of my earlier Danny Phantom videos. I've got reviews for the entire series, and maybe you'll be interested in this hour-long breakdown of A Glitch in Time if you're curious to see what I thought of that one. So, this is Danny Phantom, Fair Game, written and illustrated by Gabriela Epstein, backgrounds and colors by Killian NG. This is the second Danny Phantom graphic novel and sequel to A Glitch in Time. I really enjoyed Glitch in Time. I thought it did a very good job of bringing back the series in a cool way, following up on a couple of the different plot points that were never resolved from the original show, and also kind of doing a bit of a soft reboot with the franchise and allowing for new stories to be told in the future, which is one of the things I was most excited about for this one, is because now, after the timeline resets in A Glitch in Time, you can kind of do whatever you want with this. And so this was very exciting to me because I had no real idea where the story was going. The very basic setup is that after A Glitch in Time, Danny's secret identity is back to being a secret. Nobody knows who he is. The disasteroid, the events of Phantom Planet, still happened, and they still somehow avoided the ghost meteor. But now everyone thinks that Danny Phantom is to blame. So the whole city hates ghosts again, particularly the ghost boy. And at the start of this, the school is now introducing ghost hunting curriculum to the school. So there's different ghost hunting classes that are becoming a thing. Valerie, who plays center stage in this comic, absolutely one of my all-time, if not top, favorite character from Danny Phantom, plays a major role in this. She is actually one of the few characters who remembers the original timeline and knows that Danny is both the potentially dangerous ghost boy and has a future self where he turns into an evil dictator. So she don't like him very much. Plus he kind of left her stranded in the ghost zone. Unclear exactly how she got out, but she found a way, I guess. And so she don't like Danny at this stage. Meanwhile, Wulf is back in town, and he needs help from Danny and his friends, which puts a extra target on his back from Valerie. After the events of Glitch in Time, Danny is trying to figure out what it means to become a bridge between the worlds. He's no longer out there just to fight and hunt ghosts, but trying to make peace with them and bridge the gap between the physical and spiritual worlds, and trying to figure out what that means. So we get a ton of stuff happens in this book. It's almost 200 pages. I was impressed by this with the first graphic novel too, where there's kind of like, it's really jam-packed with like just so much stuff and so much character things that it's just really cool to have a juicy new story to dive into. We get a lot of stuff with Valerie in this book, which I absolutely love. One of my favorite characters from the original series. Here we get a lot of really cool moments with her, because she knows Danny's secret for kind of the first time in the whole show, or the whole series, and that makes her one of the most formidable villains of Danny's rogues. In the meantime, she's also trying to balance like her school social life with her ghost hunting stuff. There's a lot of stuff about like trying to fit in and doing things that are maybe a little morally questionable, but you know, the popular crowd responds well to them, so that makes it feel good to do. And we really spent a lot of time diving into the relationship between Valerie and Danny, which I think is one of the most interesting relationships of the whole show. Their dynamic of like antagonists, but also maybe romantic interests, but also maybe they could be friends. But also there's a lot of baggage there. We dive into all of that stuff here, and I really, really love all of that work. We get multiple big fights between Danny and Valerie, but they're like emotionally interesting too, because it's not just about who can punch better, it's about like the emotional relationship between the two characters. And that stuff I think is all really, really strong. We also get a few moments where the cast gets to like slow down a bit and have just like regular moments of going to school and everyday responsibilities, all getting muddy by the crazy world of ghosts that they live in. And I love that stuff. Anytime the book slowed down for a few pages just to like give us some character interactions, I thought all of that was really, really strong. Danielle is also back in this story, and she kind of has her own subplot going on that's like interconnected with the main stuff with Danny and Valerie, but she also kind of has her own arc to what's happening, and it's also really interesting. It's kind of crazy to me because I was just realizing that this is kind of the third major appearance of Danielle, a fan favorite character who had a lot of potential but showed up late in the series before they could really like do that much with her. So this comic is kind of like really only her third appearance outside of a brief cameo in Phantom Planet. So we're still kind of getting to know Danielle as a character, and yes, I think they do some cool stuff with her. There's a lot of really nice moments that I will talk about more in the spoiler review, but it's just kind of cool to get to see more of her. The art and writing, of course, is once again done by Gabriela Epstein. I think she does a very good job with, at least on the writing side of things, absolutely. She does a very good job capturing the voice of all the characters, and it has a very similar sense of humor to the original show. There's even several moments that made me laugh out loud, like actually out loud in person. Quan in particular had like a few lines that had me chuckling, and I thought it was very fun to have a lot of screen time with like the it crowd, the school bully cast, because I think all those characters are very fun, and they get a good chunk of stuff to do here, and I enjoyed it. I liked all of their inclusions. Where's I going with this? Oh yeah, the art for the most part is solid. Gabriela has a very like exaggerated art style that sometimes I think works really well, and sometimes there are certain panels that look a little bit wonky. There are 200 pages of this comic, which is quite a lot for like one release from one artist. Killian and G's doing the backgrounds and the colors, but that's still a ton of drawings from one person who's also writing the whole thing. And I don't know exactly what the timeline of these books are. This is what, 2 years or something after the first one, but it, you know, I don't know. I don't think she spent the whole time just drawing this, because she also works on other comics and stuff. So not every single panel works for me, but there were also some that worked really well. And I think I would prefer, I don't know. If you look at some of Gabriela's like Instagram fan art and just various different stuff that she's done just for fun, she goes like way wackier with her art style, and some of that stuff I actually kind of like more because it's so much more extreme. Now obviously those are all like individual pieces and very different from doing a whole comic where you have to have like sequentials and like a story to it and stuff like that. And this is also like, it's her style, but it's also trying to be similar to the original show. I almost wish that she would go a little wackier with it, because then I think her style would be more consistent. Because some of the time there are a few faces that look a little off, but then some of the time she'll do something wacky that looks off in a good way. I don't know, I'm not explaining it well. I'll show more examples in my full breakdown. Overall, I think it's good, I think it works, but it is a lot of comic for one person to do, and I think because of that, not every page and not every panel is gonna be a 10 out of 10. But that's okay because the writing is pretty consistent and I really enjoyed the story here. In some ways, I like this comic a little bit more than A Glitch in Time, because A Glitch in Time had to spend so much time like diving into the lore around what even ghosts are, and the whole thing with Danny, with Evil Danny and Vlad, and like the time travel stuff, that like there weren't that many scenes of just letting the characters breathe and exist in this world, where this comic is a lot more of just that. At the same time, it still feels like some things are kind of rushed. Like there's some stuff with Danielle which doesn't fully get resolved by the end of this story. And yes, potentially there could be more comics in the future. I don't know. I think my main takeaway is that like I really liked what we got here, but I kind of still want more. It's also hard to exist as a Danny Phantom fan, even now that we're getting new stuff, which, you know, shouldn't even be possible in the first place because the show originally was not like crazy successful or anything, but it did, you know, harbor a cult following over the years. So the fact that we got one graphic novel continuation that actually resolved some of the plot threads that were left hanging, and a follow-up to that is kind of incredible. Like that stuff normally doesn't happen. So you know, I'm just happy. I'm, on the one hand, I'm completely happy that we have anything at all, and one that's so Valerie focused, when Valerie's one of my favorite characters. On the other, like I still kind of want more. Like I think I would prefer, and you know, they probably won't do this, but I think I would prefer to have more of an ongoing comic where every month or two we get just one short issue of more of what happens next, instead of these like big graphic novels that give us a huge chunk of story all at once. Because I do want to see these characters grow and evolve, and to see where like the many different places that you could take them. I'll read like 10 more Danny Phantom graphic novels if they make them. I'm still not 100% sure how I feel about just getting the graphic novels. Like the fact that we're getting anything is cool. I don't know. I'm conflicted. I like it. I'm glad we're getting it. I think it's just like, okay, we get one big story that's like about Valerie and Wulf and a little bit about Danielle, and then, you know, we gotta wait 2 years for if they make more or not. And that's frustrating in a way, because I want to keep reading more. I think that's my biggest criticism at this point, is that I kind of still want more, even though we got quite a bit. And if that's my biggest like criticism, that I would like more of something, that's usually a pretty good sign. I'm pretty biased. I'm going to be happy either way with something Danny Phantom related, just because it gives me something to talk about. But I'm also just really happy that it is also like good quality, and Gabriela obviously understands and really has a passion for these characters, and that shows in the storytelling. This is a success for me. I recommend it. Check it out. It comes out November 4th. Go buy it so I can have more Danny Phantom comics in the future. And yeah, there's a lot more to it that I will dive deep into in a longer spoiler-filled review coming at some point, hopefully by the end of November. I don't know exactly when yet. That's it for now. I think it's pretty good. Go check it out. Have a happy Danny Phantom month. Nicktoons video coming very soon. That's it for now. Please subscribe. Bye-bye.